Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. It is Sunday, June the 12th. Ian Cameron with you as always. And of course, no game today, but we still have a show because we do have a guest that we previously scheduled and we didn't want to change things. We're happy to welcome to the Ice Guys show Kyle Hardy joining us today as our special guest. Kyle, welcome to the Ice Guys. Great to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ian. Happy to be here and excited to talk about what's going on here in the NHL.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Before we get to that, as we always do with our hockey player guests, we like to know their background and tell you where they've been playing the last several years. And you've definitely made a journey around the world a little bit, but most recently playing in France. So tell us the Kyle Hardy hockey journey, if you will.
The hockey journey. Well, like I was telling you earlier, I'm from like an English area of Montreal, or mainly English. So I guess when I was younger, a lot of players are pushed towards major junior hockey, like the Quebec League, but I guess for me, my parents had always sort of stressed education, and a lot of the English guys from my area were doing the prep school route when they were 15, 16 years old after midget hockey. So I decided to go to a prep school in New York where I spent 3 years, and then had the opportunity to go play some college hockey in the U.S., where I graduated from a smaller school in Maine called Bowdoin College. And after graduating, I just decided I wasn't ready to be done with hockey. So I started sort of looking around a little bit in minor leagues in North America. And as a smaller sort of offensive defenseman, everyone told me Europe would be a better fit for me. So I ended up signing on with a team in the top league in France, and thought I'd maybe do it for a year or two and travel a bit and see what pro hockey was all about. And here I am 12 years later, still over there. So I had moved around a bit. I did a year in Sweden and then half a year in Austria, but France just kept calling me back. So now I've been in Grenoble for the better part of the last 6-7 years, which is really nice town, nice city in the French Alps. And it's about 3 hours north of the Mediterranean. So it's easy to get down to the beach. You got the Alps right there. It's right on the Swiss border. Geneva is only 45 minutes away. So now I've been there with my wife and my daughter, who was born in December, for the last little while. So I think this is probably where I'm going to end my career. I still have 1 year left on my contract, and we just actually won the championship last year, which qualifies you for what's called the Champions Hockey League. So we're going to start that in September, which is always really cool to be a part of. I've done it once before. So I'm in Montreal right now, but I'll head back to France, to Grenoble around August 1st for training camp. And then I think our first game is September 1st in that Champions Hockey League. So just trying to stay in shape right now. I'm not getting any younger, but my body's still feeling good, and I'm still having a blast playing, and it's fun now with my family there with me, and it's a great excuse to be able to travel around Europe and make a bit of money while you do it. So yeah, I'm having fun. I'm 33 years old now, and I think I still got a few years left in me. So
That's good. Yeah, I wish I could feel as confident as you in my health and how much energy I have, because I'm even older than you. I'm going to be 37 next month. So
okay.
But that's great, and it's all about putting yourself in it's all a mindset thing, though. You know, if you put yourself in the right mindset, you do the right things, you're going to feel good. And you're right. And obviously, in terms of off-season training, you mentioned the fact you won. Congratulations on that. You won your domestic league, if you will, the top League One, if you will, of the French Hockey League. And French Alps, from what I hear, no wonder you've stayed there all these years. I keep hearing it's glorious there.
It is
beautiful place, and no wonder you've wanted to just stay there, stay put, not travel around. You say, I love it here. I'm comfortable here, right? I'm sure that was the decision, right? I love it here. I'm comfortable here. You know, things are going well with the team. You know, I like my role on the team, all that kind of thing. Everything was going well. So why upset the apple cart, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, 2 or 3 years ago, I was 29. I had a good year in France, and I sort of said, you know what, this is my last chance to go try something else. And so I actually signed on with a team in the Austrian league, which is I'd say maybe a step ahead of the French league, like a little bit better league. So I went there. The team was in Zagreb, actually in Croatia, but they're a part of the Austrian league. So I kind of I went hard in the summer, trained hard, skated a lot. Went there with the idea that I'm going to kill it this year, and then see where it brings me the following year. And I ended up in the first regular season game. I actually scored a goal in the second period, and then in the third period we had pulled our goalie, and I just was coming around our own net and got hit really bad, like right at the first post, sort of on a breakaway. I didn't see the forechecker coming, so it's sort of my fault for having my head down. But I broke my collarbone really badly, and then while I was rehabbing, the team actually went bankrupt. So I ended up signing back for the team that I had left in France, and went back there and ended up being able to play 2 or 3 games right at the end of the season. So I missed basically the whole year, and then we ended up winning the championship that year. And so I've been back there since. So now, like I was telling you earlier, I think, I'm comfortable there. The Alps are beautiful. My family's happy there. So I think the team's very ambitious too. They want to win every year and sort of be known as the best team in that country. So I think I'm happy where I am right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Montreal's like your off-season home, still, right?
Yeah, it's my off season. So I come back here. I train with a group of hockey guys in a gym by my house, and then I run a little development group where we work with younger pros and sort of elite junior college guys. So I do that about 4 to 6 hours a week, and then do my own training and play in a couple leagues. So I stay pretty busy in the summer. Yeah.
Now, this season coming up's a different set of circumstances altogether, because you're going to have your league games. But you mentioned this Champions Hockey League. It's basically what they do in soccer, right? Very similar. The UEFA Champions League for the soccer, where all the domestic league top teams, come together and they're in this event. It's basically a season. You have your preliminary round, and then you have your knockout stage and all that, your playoff games, if you will. So you're going to have more games than normal, right? For a full season, you have your domestic league games, and you're going to have your Champions Hockey League games on top of that. So in terms of the wear and tear and the number of games and the minutes on the ice and all of that shit, apparently it's going to be going up for you this year.
It does. Yeah, it does. And the Europeans love their training camp. So even in training camp, like in the NHL, you probably go back a few weeks before the season starts, whereas here we go back about a month and a half, and you actually have, like, I think we have 8 exhibition games lined up in August, and then we start that Champions Hockey League on September 1st. So how it works, they just had the draw last week where they actually pick out the groups out of a hat. So there's I think there's 24 teams in the Champions Hockey League, so pretty much all the European champions, and then the top leagues get a few extra bids. So a league like Sweden might have 2 or 3 teams, whereas France only has 1 team.
Yeah.
So
it's like the NCAA basketball tournament. There's some conferences that have they just get the automatic qualifier. The person that wins the conference tournament is the only team from that conference in the NCAA tournament. That's kind of like your league from France here.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we got a kind of a tough bid. We got some good teams. Berlin, who won the German league. We got a team in Czech Republic, Mountfield, who's always good, and then Frölunda is in Sweden. They play out at Gothenburg, who's kind of like basically like the Montreal Canadiens of Sweden. Like the most championships and big rank. But anyways, it's fun. You play in a little pool. You play home and away, so sort of like how the soccer's set up. So we play, let's say, 1 game in Sweden, then they come to us. 1 game in Germany, then they come to us, and so on and so on. And it's kind of worked in throughout your schedule. So like you're saying, it will be a little tougher on the body, but it's definitely fun. Like you get to go to, some cool city, like Berlin's awesome. Gothenburg's sweet. Czech Republic's always fun. So it's fun to travel with the boys, and you might even we'd book our flights the day after the game. So we'd get a chance to maybe go have a few beers after the game and check out the city. And it's a good time. It's a good time. So I'm looking forward to that. It's definitely a little extra motivation going into the gym in the summer, and try to stay in shape for that.
and work off that aforementioned beer weight, as you like to say.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I put on a few. Well, we won actually this year when we won the championship. It was on a Wednesday night, so we went. Yeah, a few drinks after that. Wednesday,
Yeah,
Thursday,
just a couple. Yeah,
Friday. Yeah. So my wife
a
wasn't
couple
too
dozen.
wasn't too happy with me by the time that was over, but it was a blast. Yeah, we had a blast. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. No, that's the beauty of winning a championship in any league is the camaraderie and the celebration you have with your teammates, people that you've really just been in this thing and pulling on the same rope for
Yeah.
like months and months and months to get this shit done.
Yeah,
And then when
exactly.
you finally get it accomplished, man, it's a great feeling. And when you can party your ass off with those guys, it's just it's wonderful.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. It's a special feeling. That's what I'm always told from people that win championships is that team camaraderie, and you get to celebrate, and you just get to just really relish the fact that you accomplished something together as a group, as a family, if you will. It's a great thing.
For sure. Yeah, I'd only done it once before. So I mean, when you think about it, like I've been playing for 12 years. That was my second championship. So might be my last, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't happen. It's not like it happens every year. So the time that we had done it before, we did it on the road, which was obviously a blast, but this one was at home. So it was really cool. Like my family was there, my wife, and even my daughter came on the ice. She sat in the cup, or got to party with them a little bit, all our fans, sponsors and everything. So yeah, it was actually really a blast. Yeah. We had a great time.
So now the tough question for our guest, Kyle Hardy, comes now. So
Yeah.
when the hockey thing is done,
Yeah.
where are you planting your stick in the ground, if you will? Where are you where are you residing? Is what I'm getting at. Tough decision. You go back home, Montreal, or is the French Alps and that area where you're living right now? Is it just too nice to try to uproot somewhere else?
I love it there. Like I could easily see myself staying there for a little while, or even setting up some roots there. But I do. It is tough to sort of go back and forth. You know, you kind of don't really feel like you have like a home base, and then you're packing up your things every year, bringing them home. A lot of European contracts are usually 1 or maybe 2, 3-year deals, so you're sort of always unsure of where you're going to be the next year. So I think something kind of always leads me back to Montreal. Like I do love it here. I was very fortunate to have a big group of friends, and we have family close by and everything. So I would love to be in Montreal, but I do want to stay involved with the game of hockey. I'd love to get into the coaching side of things, scouting, even advising. So you never know with hockey jobs, right? Like you kind of
I'm shocked I didn't hear teaching kids in some form, because we've had like seriously, I think we've had half our guests, maybe even more than that, since the playoffs began, that have played the game or still play, that say we want to teach kids or are teaching kids right now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, for sure. Like I've gotten into it a bit the last few years. So we work with I wouldn't say kids. We sort of work with groups from, I'd say our youngest athletes are 17, and then we have some guys who are even my age. So, but it's fun. It's I do like working with kids, but working with pros is just, it's so fun because you have to get creative to make sure you're putting out a good product on the. So we run practices about, I don't know, 5 to 7 practices a week, and you want to make sure you're retaining these clients and making sure they're getting a good workout and working on certain skills and stuff. So you do have to get creative as a coach and always sort of learn what you're going to do and how you're going to keep things exciting for guys. So it keeps me on my toes and sort of makes me rethink my game a bit also. You're thinking about different things and different ways to challenge guys and stuff. So I've really had a blast with it. Yeah, I'd love to get into the coaching stuff. Yeah.
And it also tells you that, hey, there's people that you love the game so much you want to stay with it in some form, even after you finish playing. It's amazing how that is such a shared sentiment I've heard, the last month or so that we've had other current and former players on this show since the playoffs started. They all say the same thing. We just love the game so much we want to stay involved with it,
for sure,
in some form, even after playing.
Yeah, and I guess you invest so much time throughout your career in learning the game, just how to go about being a pro and getting better.
And for many of these people, it's all they've done. It's like, I want to keep being involved employment-wise in hockey. You know, I don't want to go to do some 9 to 5 job or some shit like that. I want to stay in hockey and still, be able to and grow the game. A lot of people say that we want to grow the game. We don't want to just, do our shit, do our thing, and then retire, and then we don't do anything to pay it forward to the next generation. A lot of people have that kind of sentiment and wanting to just grow it and expand it. So it's a strong sport and a strong game for decades to come.
Yeah, for sure. And who wouldn't love going to the rink every day and calling it your job? You go have some coffee, talk to the guys, maybe mix in a workout, get in a practice. It's what all players love doing. So yeah, I'm slowly starting to think a little more about the after career, but I haven't really pinpointed exactly what I'm going to do. But hopefully, this little thing that I've started with the development company that we have, it's actually, my partner is actually Cy, who you had on the show last week there.
Wow, that's right. Cy Nutkovich, on Monday was with us. Yeah.
So he's awesome. He's been coaching. He does a few younger players also, but he's been doing it for about 10 years, and the stuff he does on the ice is incredible. So he sort of runs the forwards and skill work, and I do more of the defensemen and skating, edge work. So we make a good team, and we have fun doing it.
And he thinks the game well because he gave us some good analysis. I remember.
He does. I tuned in a bit. I could have listened to him for hours. So I loved he just looked like a natural being on the show. I liked hearing you guys go back and forth.
Yeah, actually, it's been incredible. Most of these guests have been very good, just breaking it down, the X's and O's. You get a little bit of a different viewpoint, if you will, when you're hearing it from someone that's played. It's been great. Every guest's been great so far here in the playoffs. Cy, another one. So there's a little connection. Two of our guests, Cy and Kyle, will be working together here in the future. Speaking of working, Kyle, as we shift to the NHL, I'll tell you who's not working anymore this season: the New York Rangers. They're done. They're finished. They get bounced last night by the Tampa Bay Lightning 2-1 in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Final. Really, when you look at this game, it was Tampa Bay was deserving of winning it. You just got that sense that from the very beginning, the opening period, where Tampa Bay was really controlling the play. They were in the New York zone. It took a few saves from Igor Shesterkin, great saves, really just to keep that game scoreless after the opening period. But, you got that sense after the first period. Look, my man, the Rangers are facing elimination here. They got to bring something a little bit better than that to the table after that first period if they're going to extend this series. And I think the will was there for the Rangers. Clearly it was. But, I just think they've hit a little bit of a mental and a physical wall in particular as this series has gone on, and in particular last night, because they needed to really step their game up to another gear, and they really at no point last night could get to that next gear. And maybe Tampa Bay was just too good. They wouldn't let them get to that second gear. But Stamkos gets the opening goal. And even after the 1-0 goal, you look at the second period, Tampa Bay again fully controlling the play. 23-13 were the shots on goal after the first two periods, and most of the chances were going Tampa Bay's way. The third period was a little bit more even in shots. Obviously, the Rangers kind of had to open it up, trailing 1-0, and they did break through with a power play goal of Frank Vetrano right off the face-off, tied it up for the New York Rangers. And you think, wow, they haven't necessarily played a great game, but man, they've now tied it up. They've got the momentum. They're grinding and gutting through this one when clearly I think you can see there was a lot of people hurt and less than 100%, although that you could say that about everybody this time of year. But I think especially for the Rangers, there were several players less than 100%, and they're just trying to gut through this, find a way to win and get to a Game 7. And it looks like they've got momentum after tying the game. But my goodness, what a terrible time, awful time for a defensive breakdown right after as Stamkos goes in alone on Shesterkin. His initial shot was stopped, but it ricochets in for the 2-1 Tampa Bay lead. They reviewed it, but it was the goal stood. It was counted as a good goal. And at the end, the Tampa Bay Lightning did what they often do. How many times have we seen Tampa Bay trying to close out a game, close out a series, the other team pulling the goalie, extra attacker, final minute, and Tampa Bay shuts the door? I mean, they just and again, shot blocking was outstanding down the stretch. A couple big saves by Vasilevsky. The save he made earlier in the third on Andrew Kopp was just absolutely terrific. And look, Tampa Bay just knows how to close it out. and they did that last night. And now they will move on to the Stanley Cup final to take on the Colorado Avalanche, which obviously has the storylines, the intrigue, the hype, the excitement. It's basically the two-time defending champs looking for a third. The kings of the NHL the last 3 years against a team that could win multiple Stanley Cups, has the talent to do it in the next decade, that being the Colorado Avalanche, the new kids on the block, if you will. So it's the old breed versus the new kids. It's got that great dynamic to it, the Lightning and Avs in the Stanley Cup final. But I also want to take a minute to say, well done, New York Rangers. Great season. Nothing to feel ashamed about. You got to the Eastern Conference final. You're ahead of schedule, because not a lot of people thought you'd get this far this year in year one with Gerard Gallant, who's a hell of a coach. Just an absolutely great job by them. I know people are making a big deal of the Ryan Strome snafu. They're saying, why was Ryan Strome put in the lineup by Gallant if he wasn't even close to 100%, could barely move out there, and was obviously unable to finish the game? You don't know what the conversations are like behind the scenes. Strome's probably begging his coach, let me in there. I'm good to go. I can give you everything I've got. It'll be more than good enough. And I'm sure, Turk said, okay, that's fine. And obviously he couldn't get through it and couldn't finish the game. But then the nonsensical comments on Twitter, like this was a huge glaring mistake by Gerard Gallant. It cost us the series. He's got to be fired. Oh my God. We're back to that again. I just had to see this shit on Twitter 2 days ago. Gerard Gallant fired. I mean, my gosh, you're not here without the guy. Oh my gosh, stop with that nonsense. God damn it. Stop it. I can't take that. He is a great coach. He's done a great job with this group. Yeah, did things kind of go south? Did he make a couple of decisions where, hey, people also blaming him for Kakko being scratched? I don't mind that. Kakko's done nothing here in this series. Kakko's been caca, as far as I'm concerned, in this series. Hasn't done much. So I get bothered by that. It seems like this guy doesn't get a fair shake. He's left at the airport to get his own taxi by Florida when they fire him. Vegas fires him after a 5-game losing streak when all they did was get to the playoffs every year and the Cup final in his first year. And now here's Rangers fans. He gets them to the Eastern Conference final, and some Ranger fans, just in the heat of the moment, all the emotion of losing last night, they want him fired. I mean, the guy can't win right now, Gerard Gallant. Holy gosh. Yeah. But anyway, good season, Rangers. Kyle, what did you think of last night?
Well, I had the game on. Tampa was definitely in control. I mean, the second Stamkos goal, the game winner, I guess. Like when I had originally seen it, I thought it was going to be waved off. Like I didn't see I guess the side angle sort of showed the puck like hop out of his glove. I had only seen that last minute.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't thrown into the net, and because of that, they counted it.
Yeah, exactly. So. But I mean, when your captain's scoring big goals like that, the team's going to rally around him, and I mean, battle of the goalies too, right? Those two guys are awesome. But like you said, like they just know how to manage those big moments. Like even that you're talking about the block shots, like seeing those Tampa D-men getting in lanes, like willing to do anything to block shots, and you could sort of just tell that they've been there before. They know what they're doing, and they kind of just muscled through New York, I'd say, with experience. They definitely have the experience and know what to do in those big moments. So I from the beginning, I thought a Tampa Colorado Stanley Cup would be awesome to see. So I guess for me, I sort of got what I wanted, and I'm really excited to see this next series. I think they start on Wednesday, right? Yeah.
They do. Yep. They start on a Wednesday night, and it's going to be an incredible series. It's a series that in the back of our minds, I think we all thought it could happen. Even though Tampa Bay, we were worried. I was worried about Tampa Bay going into the playoffs a little bit because they didn't play well in April. Of course, they finished third, in their own division behind Florida and Toronto, and they ended up being third, and they ended up beating both Florida and Toronto. Yeah. So there you go. And they've proven their mettle again. Just an incredible will. Yeah. And desire to win, and Stamkos summed it up. And he now is starting to finally, after last night, get some accolades for being the great captain he is. Maybe actually flying under the radar, maybe not getting the acknowledgement, believe it or not, the last couple of years that maybe he should. He's finally starting to get it after last night. And one of his quotes was great. Doesn't matter who gets it done for us. It just matters that it gets done. talking about winning these games. It's a complete team effort. Every member of the team contributes. Every member of the team matters, is a portion and a piece of the puzzle into the success they have. He basically spelled it out for us. This is a true team. It's not a bunch of selfish individuals. Stamkos doesn't care if he gets the points and the goals. Kucherov doesn't. Point doesn't. And Point, by the way, should be back for the Stanley Cup final. John Cooper said very probable. So, and look, this is the one series. Look, they've done an amazing job beating Florida and the New York Rangers without Braden Point, who got injured in Game 7 against Toronto in the first round. I don't know if you'd be able to get through Colorado without him. I mean, that's a completely different beast and juggernaut that they're going to bring to the table. So to be able to have Braden Point back, if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning and if you're head coach John Cooper, you're thankful beyond belief, that you're going to have him back. Just the ultimate Mr. Clutch when it comes to playoff hockey. No question. Braden Point, definitely. What do you think of his game? Isn't he just that player that, straw that stirs the drink? And to think that Tampa Bay's gotten back to the Stanley Cup final when they haven't had him, maybe their most important, impactful player for 2 series, goes to show you just what a great job they've done as a team.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's awesome. I mean, I don't with the European time change, I don't get to watch many NHL games through the winter, but usually I'm always back in April, end of April. So I'm always really glued into the Stanley Cup finals, Stanley Cup playoffs. But yeah, I mean, he's awesome to watch. He never gets tired. It seems like he's always going, and I'm sure he'll be hungry getting back in the lineup here. So I don't know. Did they say he'd be back for Game 1? I'm not too sure. Like it's sort of
very probable. I think he'll be in Game 1 because they actually were thinking of putting him in last night. So if they were thinking if he was close to returning last night, probably a good chance we see him Wednesday night, Game 1.
Yeah. No, that'll be awesome. I mean, I think it's a good thing it didn't go to Game 7 for them, that to get a few days at least, because Colorado's obviously been able to patch up their injuries the last little while and sort of get ready for this Stanley Cup. So I think that's good that they bought themselves a few extra days. But yeah, I'm excited. I'd love to see Tampa win another cup, but I think inside I'm sort of hoping Colorado can win, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It was a disappointing night for Kreider with no shots on goal in a game of that magnitude. It's tough. It was a tough night for him. I think we're going to find out he had something bothering him too, because you could see he looked totally physically and mentally just distraught and emotionally distraught in the post-game press conference. Zibanejad, a quiet night offensively, but he had his chances. He was hauling back for that one time or multiple times, and he just needed to adjust the scope on his rifle because he just was off a little bit with it. He's had some beautiful, wicked one-timers to beat goaltenders, but it just wasn't Vasilevsky would stop it. He'd miss the net. He'd try to go upstairs and he'd just go over top of the net. It was just that kind of night for Zibanejad. Just the accuracy was just a little off with that one-timer, especially on those critical power plays that the New York Rangers had.
I love that play. Like they did it a few times where
Adam Fox tees him up. Yeah.
And then he would come up top and sort of like be all alone with that one tee like that. I had to stop it and rewind and sort of like keep it in my mind so that maybe I'll bring that up in our power play meetings. But yeah, no, it's Zibanejad. I mean, he was fun to watch in the playoffs. He definitely brought his game to another level. Like you said, he had the chances last night, but just I mean that's a tough goalie to beat, but. Yeah, he had the chances. I'm sure he's biting his tongue a little bit today, but yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, that's hockey. Sometimes it just doesn't go in. You get the chances, and sometimes the puck just won't go for you. That's the way it is. In terms of the betting side of things for me last night, it was an up and down. It was more of a down game than up game. I swing and miss with my opportunity, like Rangers money line and Tampa puck line, and I just said don't have it end Tampa by 1. And of course, it ends Tampa by 1. But we did cash the best bet yesterday, and it was actually one of my bigger bets of the entire game, and that was Andre Palat to score a point. I couldn't believe that was minus 130. I could not believe that price. This is a guy, Kyle, that scored a point in every home playoff game so far. The Toronto series, every home playoff game. Florida series, every home playoff game. And this series against the Rangers, every home playoff game, he has gotten at least 1 point Andre Palat. And the price on that was minus 130. I couldn't believe it. It should have been closer to minus 180 or minus 200. So that's the beautiful thing about hockey betting compared to, say, football, basketball, Kyle. Odds makers don't pay attention to it half as much. So they really can make some mistakes. And that was a mistake, pricing Palat point at minus 130 the way they did. It was just way too low.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's big at home too. So
yeah. It was just unbelievable. I mean, it was just such a shocking price considering just the ability for him to collect points definitely on home ice. All right, let's get your thoughts, Kyle, on the Stanley Cup final. Tampa Bay, Colorado. It's going to start Wednesday night. I'll just give what the series price is right now because I believe it's been, I'm sure it's been posted. Let me just double check on that here. Yes, here we go. We've got Colorado minus 180 for the series. Tampa Bay, a plus 155 underdog. So there you go. I mean, Tampa Bay is a decent-sized underdog in this series. And this is not the first time they've been an underdog. They were an underdog to Toronto. They were an underdog to Florida in the second round. And here they are now in this series, now an underdog to the Colorado Avalanche. You do have home ice. It makes sense that Colorado's favored, but yeah, minus 180. Not just a favorite, Colorado, but a sizable favorite here for the Stanley Cup final. I think I like Colorado a little bit here, but at the same time, because look, I think their 1-6 on the blue line is so much better and different than anything Tampa Bay's seen. Like they saw a Ranger blue line that's, coming along and improving, but they're not there at that elite level yet. Florida's blue line is mediocre, in my opinion. I mean, and we saw that, that they can score goals left and right, but their defense, other than Ekblad and Montour and Weegar, and then I think there's a big drop off for Florida after that. And then Toronto, they're all right, but Colorado's better, I think, in terms of a 1-6 on the back end than any of those teams, especially in terms of mobility.
Yeah,
everybody on the Avs blue line can skate like the wind. I mean, it's really remarkable. Byram and Eric Johnson, and you go on down the list. Josh Manson can skate pretty well. You've got, of course, Cale Makar and Devon Taves, just an incredible top pairing on the blue line. That is definitely a new dynamic that the Lightning have not seen so far yet in these playoffs. And a blue line that jumps in every play. I've never seen anything like this, but they can afford to do it because, as I say time and time again, they jump into the play of the defense every time down the ice, every shift. But they can afford to do it because they can have the speed to get back in defensive position and posture if they happen to turn it over. Or if there is a transition rush, they've actually got the speed to get back in position in their own end. It's crazy that they've got that ability to do that, but they do. I think Tampa, in terms of forwards, Colorado, we know no Kadri, of course, that will hurt a little bit, but obviously they're still loaded up front, with McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog. Don't forget about what Lehkonen can do scoring. Obviously the goal that sent them into the Stanley Cup final against Edmonton. Burakovsky's capable. JT Compher. I'm coming straight out of Compher. JT Compher for the Colorado Avalanche, taking the spot of Kadri. He's capable. He's had a great playoff so far. But Tampa Bay's got the forwards as well. Don't forget about not just the big six, Stamkos, Kucherov, Palat, Braden Point, if they get him back, Cirelli, who's just an incredible defensive player. We've seen that all playoffs, but don't sleep on Nick Paul, Ross Colton, Corey Perry, who can score big playoff goals. And a million chances against the Rangers. Could have scored a bunch. So the forwards, it's pretty close there.
Even Killorn, Montreal boy.
Killorn, yep, absolutely. Alex Killorn, no doubt. He's capable. He's in that top six as well. So the forward group, it's tough to say who's got the edge there, in my opinion. But I cannot, and this is no slight on Darcy Kemper, who's probably going to be back, I think, for this series. I don't think it'll be Pavel Francouz. If Kemper's ready to go, he'll be the guy for Colorado. And this is no disrespect to Kemper. The edge and goal has to go to Tampa. It just has to when you're talking Andrei Vasilevsky and his 2 Stanley Cups and just the incredible job he does when his team is trying to finish a series, the numbers, the pedigree, the experience, the success. This is the first time ever in a cup final for Darcy Kemper. So, and look, Kemper's had a nice season. Very good. Excellent season. But in the playoffs, even before he got injured, Kyle, a couple, shaky moments. Maybe a couple goals. You said, Kemper maybe should have had that one. So I got to give Vasilevsky the edge in goal. And that's my concern here, Kyle, with Colorado. Even though I think they've got a deeper blue line and a faster blue line, which I think is going to pose some threats to Tampa, especially when you consider all the fucking shit ton of hockey that they've played the last few years trying to win these cups. This is where the physical fatigue of all that could finally hit them, especially in the thin air and altitude of Denver. That's not going to be easy either. And then you've got the forwards. I mean, they can skate like nobody that Tampa's played yet. And I think there's some legit things that Colorado can cause problems for Tampa. But at the end of the day, Tampa does have the better goaltender, in my opinion, and a goaltender that's good enough, even if things are going against Tampa at times in this series, to win this series for them. So I'm going to go with Colorado to win the series, but obviously Tampa, a very, very dangerous team still, and a very motivated team. John Cooper has gotten this team dialed in because he had a speech a few weeks ago saying, you guys want to be remembered for lifetime. 2 cups isn't enough. You got to win 3. You got to get a third. If you want to be a dynasty, you want to be remembered forever in NHL history, you got to win a 3rd Stanley Cup. And ever since he made that speech, I think it was Game 7 against Toronto, look at the way they've played. Yeah. It's looking like a totally different team. So I'm going with Colorado, but it should be a great series. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I don't know. I guess, I mean, the goalie battle, like you said, you definitely got to go with Vasilevsky. For Colorado, I actually thought Francouz looked great in the last game there.
He did.
Yeah, and he's I've been following him for a little while. Like, he was in Europe. He won a championship in Czech. Like, he made a big name for himself over here. So he is a very good goalie. I wouldn't say not as, like, he's sort of new to the NHL, I guess, still. Like, I wouldn't say new, but a lot of people don't really know what type of goalie he is. But he can play. I guess you just, as a Colorado coach, you don't want to be wondering who's going to start game 1. So I guess if Kemper's good to go, I guess they got to go with him. But as a defenseman, again, I always look at the back end. And like you said, Colorado's just, they're unreal to watch. Like you said, always jumping in plays. Like, that sort of, they play with that 4th forward mentality, and all 5 guys on the ice are sort of interchangeable, so that it's such a fun brand of hockey to watch. I love watching them play. And then if I look at the forwards, I think I got to go Colorado also. It's just Tampa Bay knows what they're doing. Like, I used to laugh when I was younger and people would talk about playoff experience, and it didn't really, I didn't really understand the weight of that when someone would say that. But now, as I do get old, obviously I've never played in the NHL, but I have been through a few playoff runs, and I think that does matter a lot, but for these Tampa guys, like, they just know what they're doing. They know how to handle the highs and lows of a series. And I don't know. I think, I got to go with Colorado, but I could see Tampa Bay muscling their way through. I think if Tampa did win, it's going to go 7 games. And if I took Colorado, I think they'd do it in 5 or 6. So I think I'd say Colorado in 6. Yeah.
Colorado and 6 for Kyle there. So there you go, Colorado and 6. I kind of think Colorado in that kind of range of games as well, maybe even 7, because I actually think Tampa Bay could steal game 1 because of the same situation now for Colorado that Tampa was in before the New York series, where they had 9 days off and they didn't look sharp at all in game 1. And it's going to be, I believe, the exact same number of days, because when did they finish with Edmonton? Last Monday. Yeah. And it's going to be Wednesday when they start. So it'll be 9 days for Colorado as well. The exact same number of days. And we saw it with Tampa Bay against the New York Rangers. They were not crisp, sharp. They were not in sync at all in game 1. And they ended up losing that 6-2. Yeah. Remember that in game 1. So that's why I think Tampa Bay could steal game 1. They might be a live dog, in my opinion, in game 1. But after that, I think Colorado probably rebounds. Like I say, Colorado in 6 or 7 is kind of what I have in mind. What I might do is this series to go 6, this series to go 7. If you bet both, one of them cashes, you're profitable. So that's basically the approach, because they're both at a nice plus price. That might be something that I consider doing here when we get to the series bets, which we'll talk about later in the week. We're going to do another big Stanley Cup final preview show tomorrow. on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be off Tuesday. And then, of course, Wednesday we'll be back and we'll tee up game one of the Stanley Cup final at 2 p.m. Eastern as well. Definitely have more of an idea of where I'm going in terms of the series overall and game one specifically from a betting standpoint for Monday and Wednesday. Kyle, great stuff. Awesome to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us. Some final words from you before we wrap it up.
No, I appreciate you having me on. I definitely I hadn't tuned in earlier until Size episode there last Monday, but I'll definitely tune in tomorrow. I'm excited to see what you have to say about this Stanley Cup series. But yeah, it's been fun hockey to watch. I mean, this is always my favorite time of year to watch hockey. I think that's the same case for everybody. And yeah, I think I got to go with Colorado in 6. I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
There it is, Colorado in 6 from Kyle Hardy. All right, and don't forget to check out DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NHL. Sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN. Make sure you get involved at DraftKings Sportsbook and get ready for the NHL Stanley Cup Final. All right, great stuff. We appreciate you guys tuning in. I believe we have Brett McLean, our guest, tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Brett's been on the show multiple times, and it'll be good to get him back on the show tomorrow, and we'll get you ready for the Stanley Cup Final. So looking forward to that. That's a wrap. Thanks to everyone for joining us. For Kyle Hardy, our special guest, I'm Ian Cameron. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week. Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. We thank our special guest, Kyle Hardy, for joining us. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.